Upper Westfield River. Nice plunge pool. Late September. And I'm going to give it a go with the Euronymph. This river has been so high this year. It's been really underfished, full of fish that haven't seen a lot of flies. And so I'm going to target them and get me a couple if I can. So I'm working this fast water right here. I'm letting the Euronymph do the dance. Now when I come up here into the wilds of the Upper Westfield River, being as I grew up down in the valley, I always think about, oh, little bang there. I think about being a kid, and we always would think about the woods up here being the home of the Indian, you know, and we really didn't know who they were. You know, the Cherokee, you know, we used to watch Daniel Boone when we were kids. But we knew the Mohawks were near here because of the Mohawk Trail. But we didn't know much about the Indian people that lived here in western Massachusetts. The Western Indians always got a lot of Hollywood coverage, but that was a hit. But the Eastern Indians didn't get much. And of course, we thought they lived up here. And what's funny is that as you study them, you realize that they're kind of like us, meaning, why do they want to live way up on the top of these mountains where the growing season's so much shorter, where the winter hangs on so much longer? Now they would come up into this area for hunting purposes, starting in late October, November, but they weren't up here in villages. Now during their winter hunts, they'd build a wigwam somewhere in the woods, and a party of a dozen or so would spend the winter in that dispersed site. It was a survival technique they used. And when spring came, they'd head back down the river. Now the Indian people that would be most likely to have used this area here were the Woronocs, from down in what we call Woronocs today, which is a village of Russell, Massachusetts. Yeah, they would have used this area for their dispersed hunts. And it's possible they might have met parties of Tunxus, Nonotuck, maybe even Mohawk. From their assorted villages. Norwottuck, Nonotuck. Well, Widgewocs are in Maine. There's 3 tribes that are up there in the Northampton area, and I always get stuck on one of them. Anyways, those are village sites. And we haven't pulled anything in yet with the Euronymph. I had one definite hit that I was a little slow with, and I got to try to let that baby dance down into the deeper water here in the plunge pool, run it through. Try one more cast and I'll move down. Oh, just got hung up. There we go, I let it sink. Nope. Now, I'm going to sneak, I got myself a leaf. I'm going to sneak down here and look at the river and how it winds its way through. This is some serious rough terrain here. And that brings me to another point to make, that these rivers provided the only real roads that the native people had. Now, there were Indian paths, usually connecting rivers or running along rivers. But that's why their great invention, the canoe, was so outstanding, because it could float in very little water, and it could be used for shelter as well at the end of a long day's paddling. They say that when Benedict Arnold invaded Canada by way of the Kennebec River, he commissioned canoes because he knew that the Kennebec might be shallow, and the canoe was the perfect vessel to get up the Kennebec. And the boat builders on the Kennebec instead built bateaux, much heavier and a much deeper draft. I mean, canoes can float in 2 inches of water, even less, depending on how heavily laden they are. So when we're talking about this river, you can imagine, oh, there we go. There we go. That's a decent rainbow trout right there. I think it's a rainbow, or is it a brown? Oh, it's a rainbow. And he was hiding over there in that channel, doing his thing. And I got the net out right now. I'm going to reel him in close. I don't want to keep him out there too long. I want to get him in. And this guy was shocked by the Euronymph. It came floating by him, and he responded. So he's not as big as I thought he was. You know, you see him flash, and you think they're bigger than they are. And I got barbless hooks here, so I'm just going to, I think it's already out. Nope, I got to pop it out of his mouth. Very pretty fall rainbow. You know, he's got the colors. He's getting those colors that we love. When you say rainbow trout, it pops right out. When you say rainbow trout, that's what you're thinking about right there. Beautiful colors. And let's get him back in the water. There he goes. Well, we'll wish him a good winter. We'll hope that he eats a lot of nymphs and a lot of dry flies. And that water's nice and cool right now. And we'll hope that he gets himself a little bigger and doesn't get nabbed by one of the worm dunkers. One thing I've always thought about so many of these rivers up here is that they really ought to make them, at least much of them, catch and release. You want fish? I don't mind people taking fish now and then, but these rivers are very fragile. And if we could establish a breeding population of trout in them, that would be pretty awesome. So I'm French nymphing. That's what I caught him with. A French nymphing technique is when you cast the nymph like I just did, and then you let it, I'm letting it fall down over there, and I'm watching that leader, and he fell for it. Another cast over where he was hiding right over where that little bit of current is trickling by that big round rock. And they're quite often over there. I've caught him there before. There it is. That's pretty much where he was. It's very possible that there's another one there. That was a nice drop right there. And I'll run that area again when I go back up top. I'm going to go one more spot here. See if I can hook up down here. So you remember, the native people use these rivers as roads, and they follow them up and down, whether they're on a path by their side or whether they're using the canoe. They're using these rivers. And we call the Amerindians of southern New England riverine people. Most all the tribes were riverine. Even the Nipmuc out there by Worcester, between Palmer and Worcester. But they had the luxury of having some beautiful freshwater ponds out there that they could take advantage of. All the way out to Lake Charcagabunga, supposedly the longest place name in the world. You fish your side of the lake. We'll fish our side of the lake. Nobody fish in the middle. I'm going to go one more spot over here before I do my final run back up there. And this looks nice right here. I have a nice little flow here. And look at how beautiful this river is. You don't have any junk here. There's no trash laying around, you know. Fishermen that fish this river are respecting it, which we like. I know you like it if you're watching this at home. It's beautiful, clean banks and a beautiful, beautiful river bottom. And the middle branch and west branch are both very tannic acid stained this year. And that's that sort of tea stain that you see in the river. Quite often, the middle and west are very, very clear. But this year, because of so much rain, the hemlock bogs, and you look at all the hemlock lining the banks of the river here, these hemlock bogs will leach tannin from their decaying needles into the river. It creates a stain. I'll drop it in here again and run it through. I French nymph this pool more than I should. I should Euro it more. And Euro it, you know, is when you keep it, the nymph, directly under the tip of the rod. And that's very, very possible here. I mean, I've got the 11-foot rod. I could just reach out and run the nymph and work these beautiful little pockets. This is deep. Oh, stuck. Snaggeroo. There we are. I've snorkeled in this part of the river here just to check out the action, see what the trout are doing. And it's really easy to sneak up on trout when they're in a river because they're facing upstream 9 out of 10 times. So you can swim up right behind them and check it out. Well, there's a snag. And with that snag, I'm going to call this a day. Top one. Oh, got it out. So that means I'm going to throw one more cast over there into the plunge pool and let it filter through and see if we can pick anything off in here. Sometimes it's about angles with the drift. And you know what? I haven't done this in a while. I'm gonna fire one. I'm gonna do a French nymph shot over there into that waterfall that's coming in over there, and just let it run right along the bottom there. That's a nice looking area. I'm trying to be patient and let it get to the bottom. Do another one. Don't give up on a spot when you're Euronymphing. Hit it 5 or 6 times. I myself will move too fast sometimes, and I think a lot of guys do. Take your time, let the nymph get down. Make sure it's getting down. That's the secret to this method. I'm going to go right over there. And that's more of a drag. There we go. Oh! Another one. I dragged him in behind that rock, and he's fighting in there. There he is. Right over near where the other one was that I caught. Oh, what's he doing? What's he doing? He's floundering around over there. Here he comes. What are we looking at? Another rainbow? I think it's another rainbow. He's going upstream. He's bulldogging me. He thinks he's a striper. Holy cow, this guy's got some fight in him. He's going all the way down there. He just bulldogged the heck out of me. Is it a brookie? It might be a brookie. Bringing me right back down to the rock that I landed the last guy at. That's okay. We'll take him. And he's coming in. Oh, he is a brookie. Just what I thought. Look at that brookie. Nice size brookie. Oh, there's a good net job by me. There's a beautiful brook trout, huh? With a hooked jaw. Look at this guy. Look at him. He's got that beautiful hooked jaw.
Now this is just a gorgeous fish. So I got that hook out, and let's show him to you. Such one of the prettiest fish on the planet. Beautiful brookie. Look at those white fins. If you're wondering what a brookie looks like, you might say it's a brown. Look at the beautiful pink spots. What a beautiful fish. And now he's going back in the water, and he's taking off. So I got me a rainbow and a brookie here, and I'm very happy with that. I'll take that any day of the week. Plus I found me some cool mushrooms. So now I can skedaddle, having had a nice little interlude, catch me a few fish, and I'm not greedy. And I can wish the river a good afternoon, and I'll see you again soon.